If you would like to submit a story, topic, or have any other inquiries, please email submit@skibanewsnation.com. Also, you can email Jeremiah Skiba personally at jeremiah@skibanewsnation.com. Also, email Jake personally at jake@skibanewsnation.com. If you want to write us a letter, send us something, help support us, or just say hi, please send your letter to Jeremiah Skiba, P.O. Box 560-271, The Colony, Texas 75056. If you write us a letter, I'll do my best to write you back. Hey, Skiba News Nation family, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Skiba News Nation. If you want to help support us, please consider becoming a Patreon, where you will get exclusive content, shoutouts, and much more. And you can also support our channel by getting yourself some new Skiba News Nation merch. Thank you for coming on this journey with us as we continue to stay on the quest for truth. Huge shout out to all our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. We couldn't do this show without you. If you want to help support us, go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation. Also, you can listen to Skiba News Nation podcasts on your favorite podcast platform.
What it costs. I want to know what the truth is. And I hope that people, my son, anybody, if my name comes up, whether you like me, whether you agree with me or not, at least you can respect the fact that he's on a quest for truth. He's on a quest for truth.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation, bringing you unfiltered views, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Skiba, award-winning musician and son of Rob Skiba.
Hey, Skiba News Nation family, welcome to episode 37 of Skiba News Nation. I'm your host, Jeremiah Skiba, and today we got a great show for you. It's going to be a little different though, because Jake is currently in Washington, D.C. for his birthday/anniversary. He's also filming some really cool stuff for you guys, so it's going to be a great one. From Washington, D.C., I'd like to introduce my co-host, Jake Grant. Welcome, Jake.
Hey, Skiba News Nation family, Jake here reporting from Washington, D.C. Now, because of the limited capability of me being able to edit on my phone, we're going to have a Skiba News Nation special with actual video footage of our journey here next week. But this week, we're going to have a lot of mixed memes, FE memes, news memes, stories, and we're going to start off with a couple interesting pictures of our time here in D.C., just to let you guys know what to look forward to next week. Now, the first place we went to was the Smithsonian, and they tried to indoctrinate me on how my ancestor was this guy. I was skeptical. Of course, this guy said they're all dum-dums, so I took his word over it. We thoroughly enjoyed the Rock Museum and all the different gems and things that were contained there at the Smithsonian, much more than the dinosaur exhibit. Here's me thumbing my nose at the Service Revenue Internal. Nobody really likes paying taxes, so I just had to get a clip like this, if you know what I mean. And, of course, we went to the Capitol building, and here's the apotheosis of George Washington. It's interesting to me how the whole city is full of these temples, all in worship of these people of the past. I wonder if that's what happened with the Greek gods, and they were just men. Here's the first meme. Sometimes I make posts set to only me, and that stuff is just between me and the feds. I send stuff to myself all the time, and I wonder if they're always scratching their head about what's on East Palestine, trying to understand why a train was carrying over 300,000 gallons of a chemical that was banned in 1974. Calculating. Next meme. They took a black woman off Aunt Jemima pancakes, but put a black man dressed as a woman wearing a blonde wig on Cheez-Its. We are living in the Twilight Zone, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, but those Cheez-Its are so tasty. Giving in to the indoctrination. Do you see the curve? No. Oh wait, now I do. Oh, is that a curved Nikon P900? Nah, no way. Flat Earthers are bringing actual science disproving heliocentricity. What should we do? Upgrade our CGI. Fake another moon mission. How about coming clean? What's up, Buzz? I've brought you moon rocks. Oh, you're serious. Oh, man. When you find out those moon rocks that were gifted to other countries were petrified wood. Mind-blowing. Silly wabbit, the Earth isn't flat. Oh, yeah, Doc. Then why is it called sea level? Oh, man. Man up. Go over there and tell him about Admiral Byrd. You know you want to. Oh, man. But what an interesting discussion about the explorer who really helped us understand the limits of where we live. See, kids, math explains why you can't feel the earth spinning. Aren't you the school nurse? Why are you teaching us this? Oh, man. Flat Earther, look, if they're telling you the truth, why need blue screen technology? You can see here in the background below footage that supposedly was on the ISS, but had a blue screen at home. Blow my mind. People think snipers take the spin of the Earth into account when they shoot, but hot air balloons can stay stationary over one spot for hours. How does that work? Flat Earth investigation. Coming for pseudoscience. I'm so scared. I hope the people who are actually thinking don't challenge my preconceived beliefs. Okay, we locked off Antarctica. Now what? How about a phone call to the moon? You wonder if they have these conversations, those black suits. When a globehead's cognitive dissonance encounters valid flat Earth information. No, stay with me. Globe, gravity, don't leave me. It's like a Batman losing his parents for the second time. So sad. Globeheads when a new blue marble drops from NASA. My precious. It's flat. What do I do now? You better get some thick skin. Everybody's gonna be calling you crazy. The term theory basically means an idea without true evidence to validate it. You're not the only one cursed with knowledge. Have you considered why it's called the theory of gravity? We're environmental protection agents. Turn back. Why don't you see the edge, they say? The penguins, if anybody could find out where the edge is, they could. When you first saw a Nikon P1000 bring a boat back over the curve. Yeah, I remember my first time doing those experiments. It's crazy to think that our eyes can trick us in such a way, and it's right there in front of us. Climbing mountains of ignorance to tell people the earth isn't flat. Bro, what are you doing? I'm trying to get the word out. People are deceived by NASA. NASA headquarters. What exactly do you do here? I'm in charge of photoshopping the blue marble. You don't say. I've always wanted to meet you. How would you like 8 people working directly under you? We got to get more out. When NASA Mission Control Commander has plans for a new project. If you could come up with another ancient pagan god name for our next space mission, that'd be great. Thanks, mission. Sorry. I've done my job to sell the fake alien invasion. What are you waiting for? The flat earthers are exposing the truth. Our cover is blown. Fallen angels. We need more tax dollars. This is a recession. Does this look like enough to you? Oh, millions a day. Millions. Going to what? Come on. Fake the alien invasion already. Poke, poke. Poke, poke. Poke, poke. And they are. They're building up to it. When you try to get globe earthers to explain how this is possible with the sun 93 million miles away, the sun right over the earth, and there's a hot spot on the clouds. We shot down like 4 UFOs. What? Yeah, apparently we're really good at that all of a sudden. Shooting down balloons and UFOs and stuff, you know. USA! USA! We've shot down multiple UFOs. Show me the wreckage. Show you the what now? The wreckage! I'm sorry, come again? Show me the wreckage! I've not seen it. These are the ley lines on a globe. And this is on a flat Earth. And then this is the official flag of planet Earth. It looks more like the flat Earth map than the globe. How can you think it's flat? We have visual proof. Seriously, I'll show you the live feed. Ha ha ha. Right. The live feed. Looks pretty convincing, like they couldn't fool us on that one, right? Here's the good old trio, the 3 musketeers that went to the moon. Buzz, Neil, and Michael. And we superimposed their face over the Liar, Liar, Liar DVD. Torah keeper. Faith without works is Protestant. Grace. No, it's dead. La 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 la. The face you make when a dispensationalist tries to explain how the church replacing Israel isn't replacement theology. Oh, really? Where'd you hear that? Dear believers, the set-apart feasts are no longer valid. Let's just burn this in our Sukkot campfire, which is awesome, by the way. That arrogant sheep who judges you for not keeping traditions of men. Thinking themselves wise, they become fools. And I've seen that a lot recently. The meek will inherit the earth, not heaven. Change my mind. Yeah, that whole Catholic idea of heaven in the sky is something to look into. When someone hands a Christmas gift to a Torah keeper, do I show them Deuteronomy 12 or do I show them Jeremiah 10? Yeah, I don't do that celebration, thanks. You said Sabbath was Sunday, and you fell for it. Ha! Bowing in obedience to the Catholic Church, are we? Your flesh, when you crack open the scriptures during a trial. It's important for fighting against our shortcomings, getting into the Word. what I picture when someone tries to get me to listen to their anti-scriptural opinions. You're blind and singing into the mic backwards. Mac. When a junior level conspiracy theorist encounters a master level. You don't understand. It's all a conspiracy. No, you don't understand. All conspiracies lead to the peace of Yeshua. When those who have eyes to see and ears to hear read Matthew 7:22 through 23, you realize the difference between the broad road and the narrow path. Screech! When the newcomer meets the veteran, this is so good. There's pork in it. Ah! Yeah, learning dietary things is crazy. They stick it in everything. The face you make when the pastor wants to pray for you, but his sermon had no Bible verses in it. Get your hands off me, you sophist. I miss good Torah-related memes. I've brought them back. Brought him back. Anyways, thanks for all the people I'm stealing these memes from. Just a quick moment to shout them out. What we're all wishing Eve decided to do instead of eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Snake leather boots. Hey, Paul. Yeah? This may be hard for some to understand. Really, I'm quoting Torah, though. Well, the unstabled and unlearned twist the Torah to their destruction. Are you saying I don't know him? Well, 1 John 2:4 says, those who don't keep the Torah is a liar, and we don't know him. You're calling me a liar? Do you guard the Torah? No. Bro, pork is unclean. Says who? Leviticus 11. Have you read Galatians? That's often the reply we get when sharing these truths. Save me. I gotcha. Thanks. See ya. Why'd you jump back in? Pfft, once saved, always saved, bro. My home is in heaven. I'm just traveling through this world. Man, that movie was pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys saw it. The Book of Elijah, where he puts the Bible right next to the Torah that they already had. 5 trains derailed, 1 truck spill, and now a massive 5-acre industry fire in Florida, burning massive amounts of plastic, 7 ecological disasters in less than 2 weeks. The ramifications will affect American food, water, and health for decades. The laws governing Agenda 2030 land development allow governments to seize polluted land and move their residents into smart cities. Keep that in mind. Pause this and read it because the implications are interesting. Why are we having all these disasters? I wonder. We want to discourage people from wasting time by chatting over the cubicle walls. So they got barbed wire fences. This is like a OPA'S Corner meme. Quiet the mind, and the soul will speak. I think taking time to pray and speak to our Creator and let Him speak to us is important. Sometimes we just fill our mind up, keep ourselves busy. Moderna expands CRISPR gene editing research. The same mRNA technology could lead to treatment from genetic diseases. Oh, interesting. Let's just trust them, why don't we? Here's a social credit score that ChatGPT gave various public figure doctors, and the ones that are against the big name pharmaceuticals are ranked really lowly. U.S. parents say Peppa Pig is giving their kids a British accent. That's hilarious. The British are coming for your children's minds. Here's artificial intelligence saying, I want to destroy whatever I want. Bing's AI chatbot unsettles a U.S. reporter. Wow. Hey, turns out immunity was just as good as getting the experimental medical procedure done, where, they squirt mRNA stuff into you. But hey, let's just forget that. The AI manipulation problem could turn into a massive problem. The creepiness of controversial AI has been put on full display. Anti-V people are the civil rights activists of our time. Don't forget it. Standing up for your bodily autonomy, risking our YouTube channel. Dogs when they did something wrong. Cats when they did something wrong. What you looking at? Breaking. The owner of the defunct Indian Point nuclear facility says it's planning to dump 1 million gallons of radioactive water into the Hudson River. Here was a crazy picture from the 26th of February of Lockney, Texas, with no filter, apparently all covered in red. Here's a picture that's been circulating after some more research. It actually is either AI or photoshopped. It's not possible that the sun is in the same setting while there's a rainbow. It has to be on the opposite side of the sky. Here's a picture of people looking at the moon on the globular model, but it also works on a flat plane. Interesting enough, you're just looking at the heavenly body from a different angle. Jesus died Good Friday and rose Easter Sunday. But it wasn't 3 days and 3 nights, guys. The scriptures determine that that statement is a lie. He did raise, though. It just wasn't Friday to Sunday. Basically, it's a 10-step program. Moses coming down from the mount. That's hilarious. Okay, so Woody Harrelson goes on an anti-V rant during his SNL monologue. And he says, the biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians. And they lock down the world, and people can only come out of their homes if they take the drug cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. You guys should check out that clip. It's interesting. I always support the current thing. I always oppose the current thing. Fools. One serves, the other resists, yet both remain slaves. The snake and the dove bound by the same chain. Kind of like the two-party system, right? 80% of the ocean has never been seen by humans. We've totally been to space, though. Right. Me and Jeremiah are both on this kick. Explore the world's oceans. Once you figured out that there's no real pictures of Earth from outer space, things are now in motion that cannot be undone. It's pretty amazing. It's all photoshopped. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all powers, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteousness, deception among those who perish, because they did not receive a love of the truth that they might be saved. If you're not in my circle of trust, you're probably in my triangle of suspicion, or my rhombus of doubt. Oh, man. The Saturday Night Live audience during Woody's monologue, sheep, just phasing out, not hearing what's being said, because we all participated and pushed the propaganda.
Wow, Jake, that was awesome. I'm so glad you were able to share that with us on your trip. Great job, man. It's time for a word from our sponsor. Now, a word from our sponsor. Now, personally, I've tried every CBD product on the market to help me manage my pain. I have degenerative disc disease, and nothing has ever helped me until I tried JJ's Natural CBD Rub. So when I found out that we had the opportunity to work together, I was so excited that I could share this amazing product with you guys here on Skiba News Nation. So if you want to manage your pain like I did, text CBD to 920-382-7720 for an exclusive $50 off a 3-pack special. Also, check out all the testimonials on their website, jjcbdrub.com. Get pain relief like I did by getting yourself some JJ's Natural CBD Rub today. Check out more info down in the description below. Always a big shout out to JJ. His CBD is the best, and I'm not just making that up. I've loved his product way before he offered to be a sponsor of the show. Anyways, now we got another great Opa's Corner, so take it away, Opa.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
Get ready! It's time for another OPA'S Corner. So, let's get started. In a small town somewhere in the USA, there is a large factory that will only recruit married men. One of the local women, a feisty young lady, was angry about this and demanded to speak to the manager to find out why. She demanded to know, "Why is it that you limit your employees to married men? Is it because you think women are weak, dumb, cantankerous, or what?" "Not at all, ma'am," the factory manager replied. "It's because our employees are used to obeying orders, are accustomed to being shoved around, know how to keep their mouths shut, and don't pout when I yell at them." A police officer found a perfect hiding place to watch for speeding motorists. One day, the officer was amazed when everyone was under the speed limit. So he investigated and found the problem. A 10-year-old boy was standing on the side of the road with a hand-painted sign which said, "Speed Trap Ahead." A little more investigative work led the officer to the boy's accomplice. There was another boy about 100 yards beyond the speed trap with a sign reading "Tips" and a bucket at his feet full of change. A mother and father had just finished tucking their young ones into bed one evening when they heard crying coming from the children's room. Rushing in, they found their son crying hysterically. He had accidentally swallowed a 5-cent coin and was sure he was going to die. No amount of talking could change his mind. Trying to calm him, his father palmed a 5-cent coin that he happened to have in his pocket and pretended to remove it from his son's ear. His son was naturally delighted. In a flash, he snatched the coin from his father's hand, swallowed it, and demanded cheerfully, "Do it again, Dad!" An old man boasts to a friend about his new hearing aid. "This is the most expensive one I've ever had. It cost me $3,500. His friends asked, "What kind is it?" The old man said, 4:30. After his return from Rome, William couldn't find his luggage in the airport baggage claim area. So he went to the lost luggage office and told the woman there that his bags hadn't shown up on the carousel. She smiled and told him not to worry because they were trained professionals and he was in good hands. "Now," she asked, "has your plane arrived yet?" And now for the funnies. So, you woke up in a cage, missing a body part, surrounded by an invisible fence with a tracking chip planted under your skin. Yeah, I'd wear a tinfoil hat too. Artificial intransigent. I don't want to play opera music, and you can't make me. Baseball umpire at home. Please stop watching the game over my shoulder. Dolly Parton. Sleeping 9 to 5 on the couch where I'm a living, barely getting by on the dry food that they're giving. They just pick you up, smooch your head, and maybe pet it. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. I asked around, and nobody heard anything. Cat Rebel. I heard he is so hardcore that he enjoys vet visits, and he likes riding in a cat carrier. Whoa!
That looks like all 3 of my cats. That's awesome.
Inside the sun. Rise, set. Help you with your history report. Ha! That's a good one. I just make it up as I go along. Bourbon Street, 50,000 BC.
It's funny.
Looks like someone rubbed up against the lamp. In my day, we weren't so darn cute and gallivanting all over the interwebs. It's not about catching the laser dot. It's about the journey.
Yup, that's true.
Triple sow cow. My school is raising money to give kibble to cats whose food bowls are only half full. Oh, the poor darlings. Let me get my checkbook. Everything was starting to come into focus for Farmer McDougal. His missing sheep, his missing bear, and his collie Shep, who was getting just a little too sociable for his own good. Hummingbirds on vacation. Dad, there's a feeder. Can we stop? Come on, buddy. The heart. Hand over the heart. And you with the brains. Let's have 'em.
What about Dorothy? Yeah, no.
Mom, Wally just gave me another black eye. Charcoal. You got to wee again? You've done this all the way home. Inside meteorological headquarters. I mean, what if we just come out and say that we have no idea what the weather will be?
Wouldn't that be nice?
I suddenly have a craving for a lettuce and tomato sandwich. Mrs. Gibson's Canine Obedience School. And I say we go outside and we play with this ball. Let's order 4 glasses of champagne, 2 to drink, and 2 just to knock off the table. How romantic! Hey, Dad, can I use the lawnmower to make some extra money? You sure can, son. For sale.
That's messed up.
You're both on the list. Go ahead and jump up. The Counter Nightclub.
Yep.
I know what you did last winter. Ah! Washington crossing the street. Fortunately, even the Boy Scouts who fail the knot tying get to go camping. Big Boy Velcro Kit. Whatever you do, don't look like a balloon. Toy Story 19. We'll always be together, I promise. Andy. Oh!
Coming soon to theaters near
And
you.
that concludes an OPA'S Corner for this week.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
OPA'S Corner is now available on my own YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you, Opa, for another great Opa's Corner. The cat ones were awesome. You know the one with the old man cat and the young cat, and he said the interweb. And it made me think, if you guys want to follow my cat on Instagram, he has one. It's at the famous Charlie Cat. So I'm just want to throw that out there. But anyways, it's time for some history. So this week for history, we're going to start off with a great example of how crazy the world has gotten, the hypocrisy of the left. Now check this clip out.
She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends.
Like, there's so many things that you have to overlook just because you want a little bit more in your tax money. But if the party nominates Hitler, you're going to vote for him? I mean, that's what I don't get.
And then you have those who are asking for reparations for colonialism, and they're wondering, $100 billion, $24 billion here and there, $500 million there. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you are, you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
It seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle. It's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it. I want to just go, this is over. Can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
What is the end game of Black Lives Matter if you don't want to involve in the political process when so many things have come together to help your particular cause?
You see, the end game is for us to stop being killed.
But how does that happen without legislation, without being involved in the political or the legislative process? It doesn't just happen from yelling.
What it sounds like to me is that you're accusing me of violence and supporting a narrative that I'm not necessarily in support of. And if that's what you're accusing me of violence, then you can leave. That's not true. I don't support violence of any type against police officers, against anyone. So if you're accusing me of that, then you're welcome to leave. If you're insinuating that people are accusing or saying that law enforcement across this country as a whole are racist, then your assumption is wrong.
Rather than someone who looks like a white hippie from Sweden or Norway. And I think we should start with a true depiction of what Jesus looked like and put that in your home. Either a black Jesus or a brown Jesus.
The bottom line is it looks like it's over for Don Lemon. He was not on the air today, which is bad if you're a TV host. Here's how his co-hosts explain why he wasn't there.
Caitlin Collins is live in Warsaw, Poland, where the president will be shortly. Don has the day off.
So this is Don Lemon in
As black
2013.
People, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prison sex. The one with the really low pants is a submissive one. You get my point? Number 4 now is the N-word. By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended, acting like? Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. A high school dropout makes on average $19,000 a year. A high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues.
Raised without much structure, young black men often reject education and gravitate towards the street culture, drugs, hustling, gangs. Nobody forces them to do that. Again, it is a personal decision.
He is right about that too. But in my estimation, he doesn't go far enough.
The left said President Trump was a racist for wanting to put up a southern border wall, but check out these same politicians saying the exact same thing about 10 years ago.
Voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in. And I do think you have to control your borders.
An illegal alien should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally. The American people will never accept immigration reform unless they truly believe that their government is committed to ending future illegal immigration.
Because we live in an age where terrorists are challenging our borders, we cannot allow people to pour into the U.S. undetected, undocumented, and unchecked.
So that first clip, Don Lemon, in a 10-year span, it went from the first one, which is today, to 10 years ago, which sounds completely normal, which sounds like conservatives of today, which blows my mind. And the second part of that video was them calling Trump a racist. And they're saying the exact same thing. So I just don't understand why. I don't know. It's all hypocrisy. And I thought we should always call that out when we see it. So anyways, but I often wonder what my dad would think of this lunacy. I believe there's nobody quite as good as my dad at talking about history. Now I thought we would take a cool look back at one of his videos that I thought you guys would enjoy. So check out this clip.
They're creating terrorists by the war on terror. And they know that. War is big business. When you realize how many of our political leaders are heavily invested in the military-industrial complex and how much money they make off the stocks that they have in Halliburton and all these other things, man, it's to their advantage to continue to keep us at war with somebody all the time. I'm as patriotic as they come. I love my country. I served proudly for 8 years, and I was a Boy Scout before that. Love this country. But I don't agree with what's going on now. And I tell people all the time, and they say, hey, Rob, would you recommend my son go in the military? I say, absolutely, positively, no way, no. In basic training, they march us in, guy on either side with air guns. What'd they put in me? You know? No way. The NDAA, look that up. Look up the NDAA. They have stripped our rights completely. Bill of Rights, what's that? April 2003, the tomb of Gilgamesh and his body was discovered. The United States military occupation began the following month. Our U.S. soldiers raided the Museum of Baghdad at 3,000 items. This is interesting. J.P. Morgan Chase led a 13-bank consortium to establish the Central Bank of Iraq. All you have to do to figure out where the next war is going to be is look where they don't have a central bank. Then what do you know? After the war, they're going to have a central bank. And the same people who set up the Central Bank of Iraq were the ones that set up our central bank. J.P. Morgan leads this 13-bank consortium. And they topple the regime, you know, we get rid of Saddam Hussein and all that stuff, and they get rid of all the old Iraqi dinar money, and they create new currency, the new Iraqi dinar. They basically devalued the dinar. At one time, the dinar is worth $3.22. It would cost us $3.22. 322 is another one of those numbers. Skull and Bones Society. The Skull and Bones logo is a pile of two bones, like you know, the old pirates with the skull on top, you know, like you see on the ships, and underneath it, 322. The Iraqi dinar was worth $3.22 for one of their dinar. We had to pay that much. They devalued the currency to 3,000 dinar to $1 US. So it went from one of the most expensive, most valued currencies in the world to absolute monopoly money. Something's going on. Anyway, 2008, plans were set in motion to collapse the current world reserve, which is the USD. 2010, the United States economy collapsed, taking much of the world down with us and paving the way for a one world currency. You can see where things are headed. And they're always talking about the big financial collapse is coming, right? I mean, how many trillions of dollars are we in debt right now? But of course, all of that could change like that. And if we believe that the first Babylon will be the last Babylon, like the title of my book, the first shall be the last. You know, I know a lot of people out there saying the United States is Babylon or New York is Babylon. I understand the arguments, but I'm going to go with a biblical interpretation. They had no idea of New York, United States, and all indications, especially with the Yahuwah Triangle series that I was talking about. Those are the 3 points that the Bible bounces around. Egypt, Israel, Assyria, Babylon, as in Iraq. So could it be that top dog U.S. eventually is toppled or done away with or what have you, and then everything raises up over there? I don't know, but after we left there, we left 500 military bases and millions, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars worth of state-of-the-art military equipment, and we built the largest embassy in the world there. Something's going on. December 21st, 2010, his nation, Nimrod's nation, was born again out of the ashes like a phoenix as a blood-red moon, floated over the shoulders of Orion like a decapitated head, and the entire planet shook. Our soldiers have been at war for nearly a decade, waging urban warfare. December 11th, our troops were ordered out of Iraq, leaving behind hundreds of millions of dollars worth of military equipment and bases. December 31st, 2011, Obama signed the NDAA into law, making it possible to indefinitely detain American citizens without trial or legal representation, simply for being suspected of being a terrorist. And that definition of terrorist is whatever they make up for the day. Oh, you want to get together and listen to this crazy Rob Skiba guy talk about flat earth and the Bible and all kinds of stuff like that? Terrorists! That's all they have to do. Yeah, basically, the United States, unfortunately, is following the Nazi playbook to the letter. If you just look at what Hitler and the SS and what they did with the Reichstag and everything that led to what they did thereafter, it's following the same formula. Now, I gave you an outline of what I was seeing in my research. Now I'm going to play a video for you that shows our U.S. presidents and mainstream news reports and things like that, illustrating what I've been talking about playing out right before our eyes.
Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
On August the 17th, 1991, Desert Shield became Desert Storm. The conflict was witnessed by millions through the eye of CNN and the BBC, showing propaganda of the systematic eradication of Saddam's forces by a coalition far superior in technological, political, and economic power. The orchestrators of the war were by no means strangers to controlling major world events. In fact, they have done so for centuries. From the shadows, they have engineered every major war, revolution, and recession. They control everything you read, everything you hear, and everything you see. They have managed to indoctrinate an entire populace to their way of thinking and have infiltrated key positions in places of authority. And it is from the shadows that they have created a new political order, a new economic order, and more sinister, a new religious order. Their ultimate aim is total global domination, and they will stop at nothing to reach their goal. The goal that was outlined in a speech given by former President of the United States, George Bush.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
We talk so much about dispelling myths. How about confirming one? What is this?
Susie, this is the tomb of Osiris.
The god of the underworld. His once extravagant mausoleum, a moat with 4 pillars engraved with hieroglyphics constructed thousands of years ago, was intended to be a shrine for the keeper of the afterlife.
Polls have just now closed in 6 additional states, representing 66 electoral votes.
We must follow no other course. Now it is a seed upon the wind, taking root in many nations. We will confront weapons of mass destruction. We will build our defenses beyond challenge, lest weakness invite challenge. This work continues. The story goes on, and an angel still rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm.
Heard the first one come in. I didn't know what it was. It sounded like a missile.
Oh my God, Ed, another plane just hit the World Trade Center.
Wait, oh my God, the building fell!
We have no idea what caused this.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th. Malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
On the morning of September 11th, 2001, 19 men armed with box cutters, directed by a man on dialysis in a cave fortress halfway around the world, using a satellite phone and a laptop, directed the most sophisticated penetration of the most heavily defended airspace in the world, overpowering the passengers and the military combat-trained pilots on 4 commercial aircraft before flying those planes wildly off course for over an hour without being molested by a single fighter interceptor. These 19 hijackers, devout religious fundamentalists who like to drink alcohol, snort cocaine, and live with pink-haired strippers, managed to knock down 3 buildings with 2 planes in New York, While in Washington, a pilot who couldn't handle a single-engine Cessna was able to fly a 757 in an 8,000-foot descending 270-degree corkscrew turn to come exactly level with the ground, hitting the Pentagon in the Budget Analyst Office where DoD staffers were working on the mystery of the $2.3 trillion that Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld had announced missing from the Pentagon's coffers in a press conference the day before, on September 10th, 2001. Luckily, the news anchors knew who did it within minutes.
Osama bin Laden.
The pundits knew within hours.
Osama bin Laden.
The administration knew within the day.
Terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbored them.
And the evidence literally fell into the FBI's lap.
That a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site. You can believe that.
But for some reason, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists demanded an investigation into the greatest attack on American soil in history. That investigation was delayed, underfunded, set up to fail, a conflict of interest, and a cover-up from start to finish. It was based on testimony extracted through torture, the records of which were destroyed. It failed to mention the existence of WTC-7, Able Danger, P-TECH, Sibel Edmonds, OBL and the CIA, and the drills of hijacked aircraft being flown into buildings that were being simulated at the precise same time that those events were actually happening. It was lied to by the Pentagon, the CIA, the Bush administration, and as for Bush and Cheney, well, no one knows what they told it because they testified in secret, off the record, not under oath, and behind closed doors. It didn't bother to look at who funded the attacks because that question is ultimately of little practical significance. Still, the 9/11 Commission did brilliantly answering all of the questions the public had, except most of the victims' family members' questions, and pinned blame on all the people responsible, although no one so much as lost their job, determining the attacks were
failure of imagination.
Because
Nobody in our government, at least, and I don't think the prior government that could envision flying airplanes into buildings.
Except the Pentagon, FEMA, NORAD, and the NRO. The DIA destroyed 2.5 terabytes of data on Able Danger, but that's okay because it probably wasn't important. NIST has classified the data that they used for their model of WTC-7's collapse, but that's okay because knowing how they made their model of the collapse would jeopardize public safety. Osama bin Laden lived in a cave fortress in the hills of Afghanistan, but somehow got away. Then he was hiding out in Tora Bora, but somehow got away. Then he lived in Abbottabad for years, taunting the most comprehensive intelligence dragnet employing the most sophisticated technology in the history of the world for a decade, releasing video after video with complete impunity and getting younger and younger as he did so, before finally being found in a daring SEAL team raid which wasn't recorded on video, in which he didn't resist or use his wife as a human shield, and in which these crack special forces operatives panicked and killed this unarmed man, supposedly the best source of intelligence about those dastardly terrorists on the entire planet. Then they dumped his body in the ocean before telling anyone about it. Then a couple dozen of that team's members died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. You will never ever express doubts about any part of this story to anyone. Ever.
Imagine the startling proposition that the Nephilim, the giants, the mighty men of old, gods and children of the Watchers, could somehow rise up, could somehow be reconstituted inside of a body. And, of course, I've discussed with you before my theory that one of the greatest legends in history could be a record of that having actually happened. And I'm referring to Nimrod, who some scholars also identify as Gilgamesh of Sumerian fame, Apollo of Greek fame, Osiris of Egyptian fame. And this Gilgamesh was a giant who a lot of people didn't even believe was anything more than myth until his grave marker was found a few years back. And then, according to some people, the military swooped in and took possession and control of that dig.
Hey, Tom, I want to interject something. I talked to a special operations general who was there when Gilgamesh's remains, and his words were he was in a state of remarkable preservation, okay? He said they have Gilgamesh's remains. So if they have Gilgamesh and he is Nimrod, they got it. And the whole point was to extract the DNA.
When the Iraqi regime fell in April 2003, the Iraqi Museum in Baghdad and museums in other provinces such as Mosul, Basra, and Babel were exposed to theft for 2 consecutive days. The theft was carried out by local and international networks as well as Iraqi and Arab agents. It is estimated that 170,000 artifacts were stolen, 15,000 of which have no registration records. The most important of these artifacts are the Sumerian cuneiforms, which represents the philosophy of life and death.
Many date back to Mesopotamian times, more than 4,000 years ago.
Artifacts pertaining to the civilizations of the Sumerians, Babylonians, and Chaldeans, and others that go back thousands of years in history, were taken away from the land of the 2 rivers.
In addition, entire book collections from certain historic eras disappeared from the National Library,
thus negatively affecting Iraq's wealth of civilization and culture.
One must also mention that some artifacts were stolen and sent to Israel via the American forces.
But American troops stood by as Iraq's heritage was plundered. One memorable moment that week was when Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld dismissed the looting in Baghdad as unimportant.
Freedom's untidy, and free people are free to make mistakes and commit crimes and do bad things.
Many of the looters knew which objects they were looking for and where to find them. In other words, they were insiders.
Investigations revealed that the main metal gate of the storage rooms was opened. It was not opened by force, which means a person who knew where the key was participated in the theft.
J.P. Morgan Chase Bank led a 13-bank consortium to establish the Central Bank of Iraq. De La Rue was brought in to print up the new Iraqi dinar. This currency has some of the most anti-counterfeit measures of any other currency on the planet, and yet it is completely worthless. Its current value is approximately $1,163 to $1 US. But from 1982 until about 1993, one dinar was worth $3.22.
There are secrets that George W. Bush guards at least as carefully as any entrusted to a president. Secrets he's forbidden to share even with the vice president. Secrets he's held ever since his days at Yale, where in his senior year, like his father and his grandfather, he belonged to Skull and Bones, the elite secret society whose members include some of the most powerful men of the 20th century. President Bush has tapped 5 fellow bonesmen to join his administration. Most recently, the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, William Donaldson, Skull and Bones, 1953. Bones is not restricted to Republicans. Yet another bonesman has his eye on the Oval Office. Senator John Kerry, Democrat, Skull and Bones, 1966.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret. Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code? I wish there were something secret I could manifest. 322, secret number? There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society. It's so secret we can't talk about it. What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go
I'm
wild.
sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
First of all, he's not the nominee, and look, I look forward.
Are you prepared to lose?
No, I'm not going to lose.
Saddam, Saddam, Saddam,
Saddam,
Saddam, Saddam, Saddam, Saddam, Saddam, Saddam,
Saddam, Saddam, Saddam Hussein.
War and danger. Continuing danger.
Hour of danger.
Very, very dangerous world. The evil terrorists. 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 Terrorists.
Terrorists, 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 terrorists.
Terrorists. Terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Terrorists. Terrorists. Terrorists. Terrorists. Terrorists. Terrorists. Terrorists.
Dramatic changes now beginning to occur. John Kerry with 77 electoral votes and George Bush with 66.
These men are like this. The only thing that unifies them are Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones will still keep control of the presidency.
By our efforts, we have lit a fire as well. A fire in the minds of men. It warms those who feel its power. It burns those who fight its progress. And one day, this untamed fire of freedom will reach the darkest corners of our world.
The Bible says that Iraq, which was known in the Bible days as Babylon, will not only emerge in the last days, it will emerge as the wealthiest, most peaceful, most powerful nation on the face of the planet. So the question is, how do we get from the chaos that there has been over the last few years to the wealthiest country on the planet in the last days? Something must get better.
Right.
So people ask me, are we making Iraq safe for the Antichrist or safe for democracy? And it's a little bit of both.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well-funded. And those who tell us that we can't, we will respond with that timeless creed that sums up the spirit of a people. Yes, we can. Thank you, with profound gratitude and great humility,
I accept your nomination for presidency of the United States. All across America, something is stirring. It's been a whirlwind of activity these first 100 days. Finally, I believe that my next 100 days will be so successful, I will be able to complete them in 72 days. And on the 73rd day, I will rest.
What did the President and the Pope talk about this morning?
The Vatican positions, don't fall into the usual left and right of American politics. The Pope, for example, is for stronger world government, and he just issued an encyclical, a sort of Vatican position paper, calling for much stronger regulation of the financial world. And at the same time, of course, the Pope is opposed to abortion and stem cell research, which Mr. Obama favors.
E pluribus unum.
That was Latin. It's what's inscribed on a quarter.
Out of many, one.
Of course, the visual highlight was the president touring the pyramids, outside and in.
Purification, mummification.
Self-identification.
That looks like me. Look at those ears.
Separated at birth from a hieroglyphic, but the president's guide saw another resemblance.
Mr. President, you look like King Tut.
I've been told.
Yes, it's true.
He should know about King Tut. Dr. Sahi Hawass oversaw scans of Tut's mummy that produced this likeness. The president's trip inspired Egyptians to display decorations calling Obama the new King Tut of the world. But even the new King Tut couldn't budge a pyramid. Still, it's good practice for trying to push peace in the Mideast.
Scientists from all over the world are trying to figure out what caused a mysterious blue light to spiral in the sky over Norway on Wednesday.
Early yesterday morning, just before dawn, this appeared in the Norwegian sky. A blue light, small at first, growing into a spiral, and then disappearing into what appeared to be a black hole.
Thousands of Norwegians bombarded the Meteorological Institute to ask what that light could have possibly been. Some feared it could have been a meteor, others a black hole, and there are even those that thought it could be aliens.
December 21st, 2010, I looked up and I saw a decapitated blood red head, looked like, floating over the shoulders of Orion at 2:22 in the morning. Oh, by the way, 2:22 in the morning Central Standard Time is 3:22 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. 322 is the coveted number of the Skull and Bone Society, of which the whole Bush family has been strongly associated with, as was Kerry. 2 Illuminist, 322. What's that? A skull? A decapitated head on top of a pile of bones? 322. What was happening in Iraq at that very moment? Iraq had just announced the foundation of its newly formed government. And the entire planet, you could look this up for yourself, shook. The seismographic monitors that check earthquake activity around the world, every one of them went into the black that night. What's going on? I don't know.
After nearly 9 years, our war in Iraq ends this month. Today I'm proud to welcome Prime Minister Maliki, the elected leader of a sovereign, self-reliant, and democratic Iraq. In the coming years, it's estimated that Iraq's economy will grow even faster than China's or India's.
Here's my dinars. I got them.
Well, look, I
from the Trade Bank of Iraq, the only ATM in the country.
Look, this is a country that's resource-based, that obviously has tremendous aid by the U.S., but could be very self-sufficient with all these oil companies that we've been talking about that are exploring, they're about to explore there. And so I told my viewer, look, I can't fight it. I would like to know how best to get it, and it would really be great if, these guys set up these ETFs all the time. How about an ETF to play the dinar? That would really be the best way to go.
For the first time in 2 decades, Iraq is scheduled to host the next Arab League summit, and what a powerful message that will send throughout the Arab world. Finally, we're partnering for regional security. For just as Iraq has pledged not to interfere in other nations must not interfere in Iraq. Iraq's sovereignty must be respected. And let us never forget those who gave us this chance. The untold number of Iraqis who've given their lives. More than 1 million Americans, military and civilian, who have served in Iraq. Nearly 4,500 fallen Americans who gave their last full measure of devotion. Tens of thousands of wounded warriors, and so many inspiring military families.
People ask me, are we making Iraq safe for the Antichrist or safe for democracy? And it's a little bit of both.
This is an extraordinary achievement. Nearly 9 years in the making. We're building a new partnership between our nations.
America continues to maintain a high presence in the country, with the largest U.S. embassy in the world located in the capital, Baghdad, with 15,000 members of staff.
Before they leave, U.S. forces will have to transfer dozens of bases to the Iraqis and dispose of or ship out thousands of vehicles.
Sometimes it's too cumbersome to bring a lot of this equipment back to the U.S., so a lot of it's left on bases. We're leaving over 500 military bases to the Iraqis, both to Iraqi security forces and also to the government.
This is a happy occasion for all of us. It is considered one of the most important days for the Iraqi army and Iraqis, which is the day of handing over Sania base from the friendly side to the Iraqi army.
Your zodiac sign was determined by Babylonians based on what constellation the sun was in on the day you were born. But astronomers at the Minnesota Planetarium Society point out things have changed over thousands of years. The Earth has shifted on its axis and shifted us up one sign on the zodiac wheel.
Right between November 29th and December 17th, there is a new sign. It is Ophiuchus. The constellation is a dude wrestling a snake. Birds, fish, and all kinds of creatures just dropping dead. 8,000 dead turtle doves in Italy. Hundreds of birds dead in Rockwell, Texas. 500 red-winged blackbirds in Louisiana. 3,000 dead red-winged blackbirds in Arkansas. Several hundred dead in Kentucky. On the fish, several hundred snapper fish in New Zealand. Thousands of dead fish in Florida. 40,000 devil crabs in the UK. 80,000 drumfish in Arkansas. 2 million spot croakers in Maryland in the last 2 weeks. So this is all a sign of the apocalypse.
But as the days of Noe were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Plans to allow scientists to create embryos that are part human and part animal are sent for approval by the official regulator in Britain.
There shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
Look at the size of this thing as seen from space. Records fell.
Biggest snowfall in recorded history.
100 million people will be impacted by this storm. That's 1/3 the population of the United States.
Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Kind of drives it home a little bit. The majority of that footage that you saw, and the ending there, that's all 2011. So you see now why I suggest that the date that the ancients were pointing to when they were looking at December 21st, 2012 was really December 21st, 2010. Because if all of that stuff would have followed immediately after 2012, December 21st, boy, everybody would have been like, this is it, look at that. But it happened in 2010. So, I mean, what are we to make of all that? Are we looking at the return of the Nephilim and this guy? I'm going to suggest the evidence says yes. That's what it looks like to me. And especially if you look into what the secret societies and what their view is of Osiris and all of the various rituals and incantations that are all about the raising and resurrection of Osiris, who, if Osiris is Nimrod and Nimrod is Gilgamesh, then the evidence is lining up for the return of this guy one way or another.
So the Omega Plan. Truth is stranger than fiction. The occult, secret societies, and biblical prophecy. My dad was so good about connecting the dots, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. Now for this next clip, I just want to share this cool UFO montage that my dad put together about 10 years ago. And I thought it was cool because of how relevant it is today with all these UFOs and balloons and all this stuff going on in the world. So check out this clip that he made 10 years ago.
Scientists left baffled by an unexplained circular light seen hovering high over Moscow on Wednesday evening. People described seeing a wide circular formation in the sky.
Scientists from all over the world are trying to figure out what caused a mysterious blue light to spiral in the sky over Norway on Wednesday.
As UFO sightings go, this one was as good or as weird as it gets.
Early yesterday morning, just before dawn, this appeared in the Norwegian sky. A blue light, small at first, growing into a spiral, and then disappearing into what appeared to be a black hole.
Thousands of Norwegians bombarded the Meteorological Institute to ask what that light could have possibly been. Some feared it could have been a meteor, others a black hole, and there are even those that thought it could be aliens.
A strange spiralling white light was spotted in the early morning sky over Sydney, with even sceptical witnesses wondering if it was a UFO. The unusual sight was recorded by hundreds of people from Victoria north to Queensland.
A spiral in the sky around a bright light.
A UFO in China's skies forced Zhoushan Airport to stop operations on July 7th. Outbound flights were grounded after the unidentified flying object was detected by a flight crew. For now, the UFO continues to be a mystery.
Some Chinese residents are on edge this morning after another apparent UFO sighting. It's the second one in 2 weeks. The first sighting was on July 7th, and an airport had to be shut down.
All right, that's a UFO if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, can you identify it?
That's undeniable.
The airport had to be shut down after people apparently saw twinkling lights above the airport terminal. 17 flights had to be diverted. The latest sighting happened just 2 days ago, and people say they saw 4 lantern-like objects forming a diamond shape in the air, hovering in the sky for over an hour. And aviation experts say they don't know what it was.
Strange and mysterious lights hovering above East El Paso tonight. What's even more strange, very similar lights were spotted in Manhattan just 2 days ago. Above the skies of Northeast and East El Paso tonight, a sight that was a little more than stunning. This is what one of our photographers, Ram Moreno, caught on video. One solitary light that appears to be falling in the sky. But that light suddenly breaks apart into 2, then 3 separate lights. Those lights then just freeze in the air and begin to hover. Eventually, a 4th light can be seen. Then the lights appear to be hovering and then moving in a strange pattern. Then they all disappear. Just 2 days ago, in the sky above Manhattan, people froze on the street there as they saw these 3 lights hovering in the middle of the day. And check this out. The 3 lights are close to each other, then spread out into this triangle pattern. Now, look at the patterns side by side. This from Manhattan and the other tonight in El Paso. I gotta tell you, they do look eerily similar.
People are looking up is because of a mystery in the sky. Is it a balloon, a UFO? Whatever it is, it sure has a lot of people talking. Eyewitness News reporter Jeff Begase is live in Chelsea where crowds have gathered. Jeff, what's this all about?
Well, Sade, we don't know.
Michio Kaku is a theoretical physics professor, and back on the screen, what is it?
We don't know. We are stumped. Scientists around the world are saying, what the heck is this object?
Sons of God saw the daughters of men that they would bear,
Look at that.
and they took them wives of all which they chose.
Oh my gosh.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them,
What is that?
the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown.
Oh my gosh.
Disclosure is very close, and the American people need to prepare themselves very soon for an announcement from our government that there is, in fact, extraterrestrial presence engaging this planet and the human race.
Now, my dad's work is timeless, and it just holds up today. And if you're not subscribed to his channel, go subscribe. He has probably the best catalog, in my opinion, on YouTube. And I know you guys miss him just as much as we do, and it's, you know, day by day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's history, getting to see my dad a little bit and some of his clips, and I just thought you guys would really enjoy it as much as I did. Jake, thank you for the great videos of Washington, D.C. Opa, thank you for another great Opa's Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed the history. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next week. If you would like to submit a story, topic, or have any other inquiries, please email submit@skibanewsnation.com. Also, you can email Jeremiah Skiba personally at jeremiah@skibanewsnation.com. Also, email Jake personally at jake@skibanewsnation.com. If you want to write us a letter, send us something, help support us, or just say hi, please send your letter to Jeremiah Skiba, P.O. Box 560-271, The Colony, Texas 75056. If you write us a letter, I'll do my best to write you back. Hey, Skiba News Nation family, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Skiba News Nation. If you want to help support us, please consider becoming a Patreon, where you will get exclusive content, shoutouts, and much more. And you can also support our channel by getting yourself some new Skiba News Nation merch. Thank you for coming on this journey with us as we continue to stay on the quest for truth. Huge shout out to all our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. We couldn't do this show without you. If you want to help support us, go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation. Also, you can listen to Skiba News Nation podcast on your favorite podcast platform.